Hi, I'm Cheryl Hamilton. I'm one of the DBT therapists here at Columbus Counseling Group. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about our Friends and Family Education and Support Program here at Columbus Counseling Group. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Cheryl Hamilton, and I have been a therapist since 2007 and have been providing DBT since the very start. I was intensively trained in 2010 by behavior tech Marshall Linehan's company, and have run both adolescent and adult DBT programs in a variety of settings, private practice, community mental health, juvenile probation. I also provide other types of therapy, such as EMDR or somatic modalities as well, and do a lot of treatment of trauma, a lot of dissociation. So it's just a little bit about me. But one of the things that I found over doing DBT for almost 20 years now is that there was there were always folks. So when somebody would start with us in DBT, there were always family members that were heavily involved that often felt left behind. And it was kind of honestly kind of a necessity to get the client, oriented to treatment, get them into treatment. A lot of times there was a lot of crisis going on, and it was a lot to juggle. Um, but it often felt like the families, we needed something for them too, but it didn't really work to bring families into the orientation process or into the sessions. It was too much for everybody. And so it was actually in 2016, I started doing just small informal classes for the friends and family of our clients to answer these same questions that would come up over and over again, which were typically things like, what is DBT? Yeah, my loved one doesn't really talk about it a lot. Like, what is it? Or they do talk about it, and I don't understand why they're doing this or that. Um, and the other piece was, please help me to understand my person better. A lot of times folks were diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and so folks wanted an understanding of that. Or it could just be in general emotional dysregulation. So those were the things that, well, and I guess the third piece would be family wanting to know, what can I do? How can I support them? What can I do to kind of try to make things better? And so that was the purpose of starting with that first class of trying to answer those questions. Now, over the years, I've really tried to develop, see what are the needs and how can I meet these needs for family members. And so what that has looked like and what that's turned into for us is offering, first of all, the foundational classes. Those are broken into two parts, typically offered on a Saturday morning, either in person or virtually. And the first one's on introduction to emotional dysregulation, where I answer the questions of, what is emotional dysregulation? How does that impact families' relationships? How's that impact my person? What's that look like? Also, where does that come from? How's that happen? We look at all the areas of dysregulation. There's 5 areas of dysregulation. So I also help you understand like how those fit together, what that looks like. That is usually a huge piece that families find helpful. That even like you can read different things in different books, different sources, but really helping you to see what that looks like and why that happens is super important. We also go into, like I said, the biosocial theory, looking at how do those areas of dysregulation develop. We also talk about states of mind, that first teaching in DBT, and um, that's pretty much the bulk of the first class. Then everyone was like, okay, what do I do with this? How do I do more? And so I developed the second class, which is a lot more practice, more hands-on, where we're doing specific skills and strategies. And we really are using that first part of all those things, those foundational knowledge that we learned, to then how do we improve the relationship? How do we improve this communication? Big things that we go over in there are validation. That's such a widely misunderstood concept, and it's so essential to relationships. We go over that, and some setting limits, communicating and setting limits is a big piece of that second class. Also, after the foundational classes, folks have access to the alumni groups, which are monthly groups where I go over some topics, we do some practice, but just a way to help you continue with your learning and practice. I also offer individual coaching to help you to implement to your specific family, your specific situations, those concepts from the foundational. You don't have to start with the foundational. We can meet and really look at conceptualizing and look at needs that are not being met, and plan, how can we make improvements there? Or you can start with the foundational, whatever works. The other piece that's offered that's newer, I've done it maybe a year or two now, is the 6 week skills group. So this is just a small snippet of DBT skills. It's only 6 weeks. That one's typically offered virtually. Sunday evenings doesn't mean it will be forever, but that's been the time frame, where we just do some practice of skills. I teach you some skills. It's not the treatment format of DBT, but just a way to get some skills because they're so essential to families, and to relationships in general. Um, the other piece around the holidays, there's the Coping for the Holidays, which is just a one-time class that talks about common stressors for the holidays with emotional dysregulation. And then we also develop a plan for that. So that hopefully gives you a little explanation of what you can expect with the family and friends. The easiest way to kind of stay up to date with this, you can get onto the website, columbuscounselinggroup.com. There are links there where you can contact to set up like a 15-minute fit call with me, see if you want to do the coaching, get a little bit, you can kind of run by me too, what's going on. We can see if we're a good fit to work together. You can also register for any of the classes online. On the homepage too, at the bottom, there's a place where you can sign up for the newsletter. So there's a monthly newsletter that can keep you in the loop of what's going on. And also you can follow on socials. So Columbus Counseling Group is on both Instagram and Facebook. I am on Instagram, Cheryl Hamilton, LPCC. And if you're watching this, my website is either up or in the process of getting there. That'll be at Cheryl Hamilton DBT. So great ways to stay connected. We would love to support you in your role here at Columbus Counseling Group. Hope to see you soon.